Hi Australia, and apa cerita to all Malaysians there. Moderator, fellow panelist, I would love to be there, but also I love the fact that I'm doing this here from PJ, my home office, in a sarong and a shirt that I've put on for you, because normally it's just a t-shirt. Rambut okay? Rambut okay? Never mind. I think we're here more for substance than style. By the way, if you see Johan Marikan from Talent just say, Zain says you're a cool guy. Just say that. If you see him, just say that. Zain says you're a cool guy. And then we'll start talking with you. First of all, as an entrepreneur, which I only recently realized, I'm the creative type of entrepreneurs and the dreamer, not the business guy. That's my partner Hassan, who is in fact an RMIT grad. Without that combination, I'd be a dreamer in my room without a business to complement it. Now, how I would see entrepreneurship fit into Vision 2020, I would like to see that in Malaysia by then, as a mark, that entrepreneurship is a culturally accepted profession, that you have a strong support system, and by that I mean even including the parents, that when the child says, I want to be an entrepreneur, or when people work for 5 years and then say, I want to quit my job and I want to be an entrepreneur, that it is an option. 15% of Israel's economic output is from startups, comes from startups alone. And 14% of the labor force of the private sector comes from the startup culture that they have. And sure, we don't, I'm just to touch on startup a bit, and sure, we don't have the cadre of CEO startups as they do in Silicon Valley, for example. But that shows how it is. And the discourse, to go back quickly to Israel, the discourse over there is now, instead of, I like to see my son grow up to be a doctor, an engineer, or a lawyer, there are parents now there today saying, I like to see my son grow up to be a CEO of a startup or to be part of a startup. So much so that now they're forecasting there's not enough doctors and engineers in the country, that they're trying to reverse that. But we are on the other end of the spectrum. So that's my how I would see entrepreneurship fit into Vision 2020. It's a culturally accepted thing. What's unique about entrepreneurship in Malaysia is that I spent some good time in Singapore throughout my life, and recently more and more time in Jakarta. And what I think is unique about Malaysia is that we have an environment, a climate where it allows and it promotes entrepreneurship. Not to the sense when I'm talking about homes, but I'm saying that as a business option, it's there. There are a lot of people who have their own blog shops. There are a lot of people who quit their jobs and open a cafe. Some make it, some don't. But it happens. As opposed to some other places that I know of, this is not, to some of them, this is not an option. Or it's an option, but it's not a likely option, not as likely as we have in Malaysia. But what we don't have is, I think, and I might be wrong here, is a sense of resourcefulness that is independent of institutions. Meaning, someone don't believe that they can start something, whether it's in entrepreneurship, in business, or an idea, without the support of either government or an agency or a financial institution or a patron, some VIP or whatever. I think that's a shame, because they have a sense of resourcefulness. They want to pull something together, but they somehow feel that the resources must include that category of entities, and not just the category of, okay, I will get my friend, he's a designer, he can help me design. I can get my friend, he's an accountant, he can help me with the accounts for a while, and then we can start something up and get things going. So that's that. The sense of resourcefulness independent of institutions. Number two is just that, not in terms of just entrepreneurship, but in terms of ideas, entrepreneurs that strive on ideas. Because I feel like, to a good amount, there's the approach of dedication and motivation and commitment, but there's also the human resource is expensive in terms of what kind of good ideas that we have. If I'm not mistaken, Pete Teo was telling me about 2 weeks ago, if within the film circuit worldwide now, one of the places that they look for when looking out for up and coming filmmakers in the world, one of the countries that they look at is Malaysia. They are keeping an eye on Malaysian up and coming filmmakers. So that's on one sector, but I like to see that expand to various other sectors. Now, what drives me to do what I do for, as the moderator asked me, Tanah Air, Malaysia, I think too many people focus on what's missing. In every drain, there's an opportunity. Somewhat blue ocean, yes, but it doesn't have to be big and massive. Little things can also be windows of opportunities, and I see an immense flow of opportunities when I look into what's around me. Sometimes it can be an idea on its own, sometimes it can be what's there and what can be improved of it. So yes, to some extent the cliche half full and half empty.